I got laid off. I built the underlying framework for our core project, and just when I finally saw daylight, the company cut me. The CEO piled on in front of the entire company, calling me dead weight. He had no idea I was the only one who could fix the core code. Turns out the day they'd come begging would arrive a lot sooner than anyone imagined. We regret to inform you that due to staffing adjustments, the company is terminating your employment. Your badge has been deactivated. Please remove all personal belongings immediately. I was baffled. I thought HR pulled me in for a quick meeting, not a layoff notice. 3 years ago, we were a tiny shop of fewer than 20 people. I caught the wave of virtual interaction and built the core project from the ground up. After countless late nights, we shipped our first product, Ribo, which used glasses or a car window as the medium to turn the outside world into an interactive virtual layer. No more clunky VR headsets. Users felt like they were living inside a sci-fi movie. The minute Ribo launched, the market exploded. Agents and developers swarmed us. The Ribo ecosystem shot up like a skyscraper, and our company ballooned from 20 to 5,000 people. With Ribo on fire, we pushed hard on iteration. I haunted tech sites and upgraded Ribo to a cutting-edge, highly available architecture. Building it was brutal. Very few people understood the core tech. I threw myself into it and had no bandwidth for anything else. Jason Smith came in during that stretch. At first, he did grunt work under me. Slick guy, great at managing up. His social feed was all golf with the big bosses and afternoon tea with product managers. When the new Ribo was about to launch, they told me to prep the remarks. I hated the hassle. Jason volunteered, wrote the script, and went live. He had the gift of gab and tons of hustle, which let me stay deep in the tech, so every launch after that went to him. I was glad for the peace and quiet. All I wanted was to make Ribo better. He started billing himself as Ribo's chief engineer. Over time, everyone outside just took it as fact. Riding his connections, he climbed all the way to CEO. Meanwhile, I wrapped the upgrade and finally had a little breathing room. People asked me how strong Jason was technically. I said, meh, he's better at the social game. Word got back to Jason. I meant nothing by it, but he took it personally. A guy who calls himself chief engineer on stage can't stand having his origin story stripped away. When the economy turned, a lot of tech companies got hit. Ribo's stock slid, and layoff rumors started. I never dreamed I'd be the first name on the list. I went back to my desk to pack, numb. From the doorway, I heard, "Morning, President Jason!" I looked up to see Jason waddling over belly first. Too many dinners these 3 years, he'd puffed up into a paunchy, greasy, middle-aged man. He beamed. "Morning, folks!" He sidled up to me, all pretend surprise. "Huh? Luke, why are you packing?" A few heads turned. Then he raised his voice as if it had just occurred to him. "Wait, don't tell me Luke got laid off?" That outburst froze the whole office. I said, "Yeah, I need to finish packing. Excuse me." But he wasn't talking to me. He turned and circled me like a mourner at a wake. What a shame, Luke's one of our old hands. Company makes some staffing changes and somehow cuts Luke. I don't get it. All these engineers and they pick you? Did they review everyone's KPIs? I hate box checking. I keep reports light and focus on work. The KPIs he meant were exactly that kind of performative report. I've worked with Luke. It really pains me. But the company doesn't carry freeloaders. If Luke leaves and everything still hums along, we'll all see who's been cashing checks without doing the work. His voice got louder, his eyes slanting at me in glee. Even I could tell who wanted me gone. The list came from upstairs anyway. Fuming, I called my college roommate. "Hockey, that project you mentioned still need people?" On the phone, he practically squealed. "Finally, Luke, you've got time for me. Say the word, whatever you want to build. I'll bankroll it." I couldn't help smiling. Great. Free now? Let's talk in person. I'm on my way. I'll pick you up downstairs. I stood outside with a cardboard box. 3 years of living at the office. And all I had to show for it fit in one box. Jason had just walked a few partners out, grinning ear to ear. He spotted me and clicked his tongue. Useless on the job, but quick on the cleanup. I wasn't a Ribo employee anymore. And he wasn't my boss. But Jason clearly hadn't adjusted. "Gentlemen, Mr. Tony, Mr. Kyle, this is one of our engineers. We dropped the hiring bar when we scaled. After our system upgrade, personnel costs fell off a cliff. The ones who loaf got optimized. Interested in the new system? Let's keep talking. The two execs were built just like Jason. The three of them looked like a row of oil drums. Jason leaned in, voice nasal. Hey, Luke, heard you just bought a place downtown. Those mortgage payments must hurt. I'm a sentimental guy. Tell you what, carry their bags and bang out 500 push-ups right here. Finish, and I'll have HR rehire you. I reached out and gave his big belly 2 crisp pats. You're the one who needs the push-ups. The two bosses burst out laughing. Jason's pudgy face went red, and he was about to blow when a Rolls-Royce shot up and stopped in front of us. The spirit of ecstasy rose. The door swung open. A handsome guy in a white suit sat behind the wheel. 3 years had only sharpened his looks. Pocky leaned out, pushed his shades up, and gallantly opened the rear door for me. Luke, your chariot awaits. I slid in with my box. He must have seen the whole scene. In a sugary drawl, he said, Gentlemen, back to work. We idle types are off the clock. He shut the door and the rolls glided away. Pocky was my college roommate, a rich kid with a killer eye. He loved the snack he was nicknamed for, and always had a stick between his teeth, so we called him Pocky. After graduation, he took over the family business and dove into investing. Luck or skill, maybe both, every bet hit, and the family fortune multiplied several times over. Starting a couple of years ago, he kept trying to rope me into co-founding a company. I was buried in the Ribo upgrade and shot him down flat. Sitting in the plush leather seat of the Rolls-Royce, I felt a pang of melancholy. Outside the window, the Ribo Tower with its rainbow logo receded into the distance. Pocky glanced at me through the rearview mirror. One look at my box and my face, and he understood. Has Ribo's upper management gone brain dead? They actually laid off the chief engineer. I met his eyes in the mirror. How do you know I was the chief engineer? Ribo's development involved company secrets. I never shared details with outsiders. All the public ever heard about Ribo's progress came from Jason's speeches at press conferences. Pocky chuckled. You forgot the competition we joined back in college? You said you wanted to install virtual interaction software on car windows so drivers wouldn't have to glance at the navigation screen. You used that idea to create the prototype for Ribo, and we won the gold prize. Too bad we didn't have the right hardware back then. The prototype stayed a concept. It was true. I'd been buried in work so long that college felt like a lifetime ago. Pocky said, eyes bright with excitement. I thought you were some kind of god that day. I swore I'd never let go of your coattails. I managed a small smile. Virtual interaction had always been my dream. Reality held too few beautiful things. I wanted to bring imagination into life, to hold a rainbow in my hands. Rainbow, Ribo. During Ribo's meteoric 3-year rise, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't proud. But in the end, my rainbow turned out to be an illusion. So, what's next? Pocky asked. No idea. What project are you working on lately? AI, of course. Everyone's diving into it like crazy. I nodded, sighed. Pocky got the message and said gently, Don't rush into work yet. Take a vacation. Come to think of it, I hadn't taken a long break in ages. I want to catch the next flight to the Maldives. Fishing trip, huh? Got it. Forget the flight, let's take my helicopter. Fine. Send me your AI project proposal. I'll read it on the way. What? Pocky blinked. You INTJs are terrifying. I packed light. While waiting for the flight, I saw him dumping stocks. What's up? Why the rush? His eyes gleamed. I'll bet you anything Ribo's about to blow up. You'd better sell your Ribo stock, too. You've no idea how far it'll fall. I frowned. You don't trust the system I built? It's not that, he said. You're the kind who works alone, never teaches anyone, never leaves documentation. Ribo's about to release a new feature. It's going to be a disaster. I thought back there were plenty of hidden risks after the upgrade. I'd planned to write a summary for the team. It was still half done. Jason only saw the lower maintenance costs, and that was under normal operation. If anything went wrong, I was the only one who could fix it. I knew trouble would come, but I didn't expect it to be that bad or that fast. That night, I checked into a luxury resort in the Maldives. Pocky was serious about recruiting me. He'd taken care of everything. My suite faced the ocean, glass walls on 3 sides. I unpacked, put everything in order. Just as I finished, my phone buzzed a message from a colleague. No, a former colleague. Luke, check the company feed, quick! The feed was a verified section of a workplace app where certified Ribo employees could post. The contact list often suggested familiar faces, and most company gossip appeared there first. I poured myself a martini, stood by the window, and opened the feed. Employee Luke embezzles funds under false pretenses. After being caught, he assaults the CEO. Anonymous post. The attached photo showed me in front of the office, slapping Jason's belly with a mocking expression. I zoomed in, disaster-level facial expression. Was I always that cold-looking? No wonder people were scared to talk to me. The poster listed 3 offenses. First, pushing unnecessary technical upgrades and pocketing the money. Second, missing check-ins, showing up late, leaving early, and failing KPIs. Third, disrespecting company leadership and spreading rumors. The comments exploded. So the layoff rumor was fake? They only fired 1 bad apple? Good. Get rid of the freeloaders and the company will thrive. Isn't that guy from engineering? Looks familiar. The chief engineer is President Jason. There's no department head in engineering. I scrolled through. Most of the cheerleaders were from other departments. A former colleague messaged me in outrage. Luke, you left too suddenly. It's so unfair. After you left, HR called in every team lead in engineering one by one. Anyone who speaks online gets fired without severance. I couldn't blame them. The job market was grim. Companies that paid well and didn't demand endless overtime were rare. Fast-growing firms like Ribo were rarer still. Veterans had traded youth and health for high pay and titles. If they got fired, the financial strain was crushing, and their reputations would tank. The tech world was a small pond. One background check and everything came out. The colleague who messaged me was Kristen, one of the few women in the department. She was typing furiously. What do you mean, unnecessary innovation? The new system saves so much manpower. Deployment used to take a full day. Now it's an hour. What does he know about tech? How dare he talk about Luke like that? The upgrade had cost money, sure, but every cent was documented and approved step by step. When funds ran short, I'd even paid out of pocket. As for the other 2 accusations, anyone who knew. Seeing Kristen's anger spiral, I sent a quick reply. Calm down. Vent to me if you need, but be careful what you post. They can trace it. Kristen had every reason to resent Jason. When she first joined, the whole office buzzed, finally. A female engineer. Fresh out of college, smart, polite, eager to learn, people liked her instantly. I had her start with infrastructure to learn the basics. Jason often came to inspect engineering, and when he saw her, his eyes lit up. A newcomer? Come here, let me test you. He handed her a brand new requirement. I thought that was completely beyond what a junior hire should handle. Kristen stammered through her answer. I'd first look for documentation on similar projects, analyze capacity, and ask the PM what outcome they expect. Jason sneered, cutting her off. If you don't know, just say so. Don't pretend. Girls usually lack technical experience. Ask for help before you speak. She froze under the scolding, eyes trembling. I walked over and said, the rookie answered just fine. When there's a new requirement, the first step is to review past experience, confirm the needs, and analyze the data. Clear and methodical. Perfectly reasonable. I scratched my head. And technical ability has nothing to do with gender. Guys and girls are all the same. Kristen's fear turned into surprise and delight. Jason's chubby face drooped, eyes full of disgust. I said, our department's been struggling with this requirement too. Since you brought it up, Jason, mind sharing what progress we've made so far? I honestly thought he knew what he was doing. Turns out he just wanted to show off in front of the new girl. Jason started dodging the question first, blaming the PM for rushing him, then claiming a budget shortfall, and finally escaping with the excuse of another meeting. After that, Kristen completely lost respect for him. But she wasn't entirely wrong. Jason knew perfectly well that upgrading the system was necessary. Even if he resented me, he waited until I'd finished the upgrade before kicking me out. I scrolled through the report post. The comments kept pouring in. Some mocked, some sneered, some speculated maliciously, but not one person actually knew the truth. Within minutes, the post shot to the top of the company feed. My personal data, attendance records, and half-hearted KPI reports were all attached. Everything that wasn't documented was erased clean. Normally, posts leaking private information would be deleted by the admins, but this one stayed up in plain sight. It didn't take a genius to know who gave the order. Kristen's voice message came through in tears. As long as that post stayed up, I could forget about joining any decent company. Jason didn't just want me out of Ribo. He didn't want me working anywhere else. Thinking back, he'd dropped hints before, warning me to keep my head down. Luke, you've never managed a team. You don't get it. This job isn't for regular employees. I've got PR pressure outside, risk inside. You have no idea how hard it is. Too bad I never caught his drift. But your salary isn't like a regular employee's either, I'd replied. His work had paid off. He was the chief engineer. Ribo was his creation, and everyone upstairs owed him favors. Finally, he picked the perfect moment to sweep me out the door. Luke, what are you gonna do now? What could I do? Fly to the coast in a private jet, stay at a luxury hotel, watch the sunrise, eat, drink, and go home to start my own company. It took me 3 years to build Ribo from nothing. Give me another 3 and I'll surpass it. Still, knowing there were people who stood up for me made those 3 years worthwhile. That alone was something to be happy about. The hotel had a VIP gym. After a workout, I went back to shower. With work no longer consuming me, I picked up fitness again and fell back into a healthy routine. Steam fogged the mirror as I ran a hand through my wet hair. My chest and abs were showing definition again. The job had been exhausting, but meaningful. My hair was still thick, my eyes bright, my body in shape. Thankfully, Jason had taken over all the networking and drinking gigs. At 6 in the morning, I woke refreshed, slung my fishing gear over my shoulder, and set off. We'd rented a yacht for sea fishing. The engine roared as I lay on a deck chair in sunglasses, sky and sea merging in perfect blue. The breeze was crisp, the air warm. It felt like I'd just climbed out of hell and into paradise. Life is a long journey, and I'm just a traveler passing through. Click, click. I opened my eyes to see Pocky snapping pictures. I was wondering which handsome fisherman this was. Turns out it's my Luke. This shot's perfect for recruitment ads. No girl could resist it. I jumped up to grab his phone. Delete it! Now! Pocky darted away like a street performer, sprinting to the stern. Come on, you look amazing when you relax. You're just too cold-faced at work. No wonder people don't like you. I wanted to argue, but then I remembered my expression in that report photo and shut up. Today was Ribo's new feature launch day. Normally, I'd be glued to the live stream, nerves wound tight. Now I sat beside Pocky on the deck, lines in the water. Got one! Reel it in! The pull below was massive. I steadied myself, muscles straining, and after a fierce struggle, hauled it up a sailfish over 1 meter long. The captain, Pocky, and I, 3 grown men, yelled like kids. The captain measured it, while Pocky snapped a photo of me holding it proudly. Chin up! Chest out, features tensed a triumphant mess. I'd be bragging about it for a year. Then Pocky's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. He answered, listened a moment, and shouted, "Oh my God." He rushed over, panting. "Luke, check the headlines now." I looked at his screen. Every news site screamed the same thing. Ribo system collapse. User data lost. Ribo's new feature crashes entire product line. CEO abruptly ends press conference. Company claims emergency repairs underway. Recovery time unknown. Some users log in to find their accounts wiped. Since Ribo products are integrated into daily life, data corruption could cause massive damage. I knew this was bad, finished washing my hands, and read carefully. I watched the press conference replay, scrolled through pages of user complaints. Based on the leftover risks from the upgrade, I traced the code logic backward and quickly saw where it had gone wrong. Pocky nudged me to check my phone, only then did I realize it had died. I plugged it in and powered up. Missed calls exploded onto the screen. Messages flooded in non-stop. I could already imagine the office chaos, people wailing in panic. There was no way I could answer them all, so I just let it ring. After a while, the noise stopped. One call came through from the product department. I had no patience for corporate talk. "I'll only speak with CEO Jason," I said flatly. I declined a few more calls before his number finally appeared. I picked up. Jason's words tumbled out at lightning speed, voice shrill with panic. "You've seen it, right? You have too, huh? What do you mean I have to? I knew it already. I blinked. Wait, how'd you know I caught a sailfish? I sent him the high-res photo of me holding it. Jason went silent. What who cares about your damn fish? Well, now you do. On the other end, Jason's voice cracked with fury. Luke, this isn't a joke! You've seen the news, Ribos. Never had a failure this big in 3 years. This is your system. The reliability's garbage. His voice was so loud it echoed across the deck. The sheer gall of his blame stunned me. Even now, his first instinct was to pass the buck. I'd meant to help, but all I felt now was cold respect and polite farewell. Not my problem. I said, I'm just a deadweight who doesn't work, remember? You fired me and kept all those better engineers. I hung up, sneered, and went back to fishing. The phone rang again. I held it at arm's length and hit speaker. You got a laptop with you? Jason barked. Join a remote meeting, now! Hand me the bait, I told Pocky. Let's catch an even bigger one. Hey, Luke, you hearing me? Join the meeting now. Captain, I said, take us a few more miles out. The roar of the yacht's engine drowned out Jason's shouting. We laughed and fished for a while. Jason must have realized from the background noise that I was on vacation. A system failure was bad enough, but knowing I was enjoying myself must have driven him crazy. Sure enough, less than 10 minutes later, his tone softened. Luke, come on. You don't really want to see Ribo collapse, do you? Give us a hand. I honestly didn't get it. Once someone becomes a boss, do they think everyone's theirs to command? I reminded him, President Jason, I don't work for Ribo anymore. I'm not on your payroll, remember? Jason didn't hesitate. I'll reinstate you immediately. I'll also take down that post. Oh, so you're admitting you wrote it? I said. Jason went silent. He was probably sweating bullets. Still, years of schmoozing had taught him how to hit where it hurt. Luke, if you've got a grudge against me personally, fine. Once we fix the system, you can settle it however you like. But think about your team. They've been working non-stop since the crash, losing their minds. Until the system's back up, they can't rest for even a minute. I fell silent. He wasn't wrong. Ribo's collapse helped no one. I sighed. To be honest, Jason, I can fix this. Before he could get too excited, I added, but I'm at sea right now. The signal's bad, and I don't have login access. That's easy, he said quickly. Tell me who you need, what access you need. I'll make it happen. Jason scrambled to set everything up. Meanwhile, our yacht headed back. We docked and found a cafe with a strong signal. Since I'd been deleted from the system, all my accounts were gone. The access I needed was extensive, and they couldn't restore it all at once. I pulled a few senior leads into a meeting to coordinate progress. Jason listened in, juggling calls and updates. Dusk settled. It was already 10 p.m. back home. The outage had lasted 5 hours with no fix in sight. Pocky nudged me and showed the stock market app. Ribo's shares had fallen off a cliff. No rebound in sight. Good thing I sold. He grinned. That's a new car right there. Now the pressure was squarely on Jason. He kept sighing and wiping sweat. Guys, please hurry. Any ETA for recovery? You're welcome to do it yourself. I shot back. Jason shut up instantly. Another hour crawled by before we finally made progress. Jason, however, was fidgeting again. The board meeting's about to start. Can we be fully restored within the hour? I need something to report. The engineers, exhausted and irritable from overtime, ignored him. No! I said flatly. Just fix it live in front of the board. Saves you the trouble of explaining. With no better option, Jason joined the board meeting remotely while keeping our call open. The board opened by grilling Jason. When would the system be back online? Suddenly, Jason was brimming with confidence, talking circles around them, and shifting all the blame to the monitoring and operations teams. He promised the board everything would be restored within 20 minutes. The directors relaxed and moved on to damage control. They planned to issue a statement blaming human error, throw a few scapegoats under the bus, and compensate users for losses. It was the cleanest PR fix. I couldn't believe this circus. An entire management team of spin doctors who couldn't even face the truth. Thank God I'd escaped. At last, we got the system running and entered testing. Jason leapt up, announcing the fix. The board applauded his efficiency. Jason buttered them up, praising their wise leadership and collective spirit, claiming it all embodied the company's core values. I wasn't nearly as optimistic. I knew the user data loss issue wasn't solved yet. Sure enough, when I logged in, every account was blank. Jason started to panic. The board meeting turned chaotic. Quiet! The noise grated on me. I told Jason to put the call on speaker and barked, "Everyone calm down!" The room fell silent. No need to panic. I said, "Our database has strict backups. We just need to roll it back. I don't have database permissions. So Jason, please execute the rollback." Jason fumbled with his laptop. How do I do that?" I walked him through the steps. When he finished, his voice trembled. "The pre-launch data, the indexes are gone. Lost indexes meant the categorized data had turned into an unsorted mess." "Quiet!" I shouted again. "Minor issue. We have an offsite backup on an independent server, unaffected by the main cluster." I explained how to connect to it, but Jason didn't move. After a long pause, he said softly, "The offsite server was shut down last month to cut costs." The room went dead silent. I forced down my anger. Shut down? And no one thought to ask me first? Jason slumped in his chair. The board, puzzled, asked why the chief engineer kept consulting me. I snorted. Who else would he ask if not the real chief engineer? Jason didn't deny it. One director finally asked, "And what's your name, sir?" "Luke," I said. "Mr. Luke, what's your plan? How long to restore the database?" "I don't know," I replied. "In my 3 years here, we never had a single outage. You fired me this Monday. Technically, this isn't my concern anymore. We should each mind our own business. I've already sacrificed enough of my personal time tonight. That's all. Good evening." The board panicked when I quit on the spot. "Who authorized Luke's dismissal?" one demanded. "I'll sue them for full damages." No one spoke up. With no other choice, I gave them the only solution left. There were no backups, and the indexes were gone. But thankfully, the raw data still existed. The only option was to write manual filters and recover it piece by piece. A massive, tedious job. I assigned tasks to my former teammates and left the meeting. The entire fiasco from crash to recovery took 12 hours. Rybo suffered catastrophic losses. Its reputation tanked. Millions in market value vanished overnight. And my vacation was only halfway through. The board begged me repeatedly to return, but I refused. I was done with them. My former colleagues felt the same, one by one. They quit. Without NDAs to hold them back, some went online and leaked the real story. Hockey forwarded me posts from popular bloggers. So they asked their key engineer to cut costs. And now they wonder why the fix took forever? Cost cutting to the point of comedy. Rybo's lost its magic. Their new features are getting worse every time. Reading them, I couldn't even laugh. Rybo's leadership was trash. But Rybo itself felt like my own child. And no parent can stand to hear their kid insulted. I forced myself to look away and threw my energy into the AI startup with Pocky. His investment instincts were razor sharp. In just 1 year, we developed an esports streamer AI. Funny, skillful, and instantly popular among young gamers. That year, an international esports festival drew global attention. Our AI joined Team M and won the championship. The victory brought in a flood of investors. I seized the chance to train more specialized streamer AIs. They soon went viral, becoming household name influencers. These AIs generated massive profits for the company. Managing them was easy. They didn't demand fame, didn't need rest, and never caused scandals. When the annual financial report came out, Pocky was ecstatic. "Luke, our company's net profit grew 30-fold this year. We even got named Rising Star of the Year. Surveys show 1 in every 5 people aged 10 to 25 knows about us." Pocky, the board, and I shared the excitement. Yes, learning from Rybo's failure, I joined the executive team and helped shape company policy. Pocky worked hard to break my old habit of hoarding work, urging me to delegate tasks to other departments while I focused on business management. I held shares now. When the report dropped, not only was Pocky a rich second generation, I'd become rich first generation. Still, I didn't crave much. Even with financial freedom, it didn't quite feel real. "So, how's our market cap compared to Rybo?" I asked. "About 20 times higher." Pocky said, then suddenly remembered something. "Speaking of Rybo, they've been slumping for a whole year. They're desperate for partnerships lately. I've got a meeting with them tomorrow afternoon. Want to come? On the day of the meeting, we arrived early at the Sherry 5-star hotel. I found the private suite stuffy, so I took my laptop to the lobby instead. Bored waiting, I opened my laptop and started scripting a new feature. A group of people entered through the hotel doors. One of them looked vaguely familiar, but I didn't think much of it until he spotted me first. Well, if it isn't Luke, long time no see! I looked up into a broad, greasy smile. President Jason, I said evenly, smiling back. Long time no see. It was him. After the incident, I'd blocked every way he could contact me. We hadn't spoken since. His hairline had retreated further, his skin oily and flushed. He looked worse for wear, judging by how he walked in the middle of the group, but without the old swagger, maybe he'd been demoted. Seeing me typing away, Jason put on a regretful look. Luke, still so busy at your new company, huh? With your skill set, management roles must come easy. He handed me a business card, practically forcing it into my hand. If you ever get tired, Luke, Ribo's doors are always open. Just drop my name. I stared at the card, half amused, half speechless. After they went upstairs to their meeting, I finished my work. Through the glass wall of the VIP suite, I could see Ribo's executives pitching Pocky with forced enthusiasm. Pocky didn't look interested, just hungry. Our new product's pre-order rate hit a record high. If your company grants authorization, integrating AI streamers will be a win-win. I opened the door and walked straight to Pocky's right-hand side. The Ribo team fell silent mid-sentence. Pocky perked up and made introductions. President Ashley, President Jason, this is our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Luke. Ashley, whom I didn't know, quickly stood to shake my hand. Jason's chopstick slipped from his fingers and clattered onto the floor. I still wasn't fond of socializing, but I knew how to play the part. Please, no need for formality. I used to work at Ribo myself, and it left quite an impression. Worked at Ribo? Ashley laughed. What a small world. May I ask what position you held? Smiling, I said. Entry-level employee. Jason cleared his throat, trying to steer the topic elsewhere. But Pocky, ever the agent of chaos, piled on with a grin. No wonder your company's full of talent. I poached one of your entry-level employees and made him CEO, and he's thriving. Ashley froze, visibly awkward. Admit it, and you reveal poor judgment for letting talent slip away. Deny it, and you insult the other side's competence. Only a rich heir could deliver a knife with a smile that sharp. I waved a hand lightly and asked what they'd been discussing. Jason had no choice but to repeat his earlier pitch for my benefit. When he finished, Ribo's execs looked at us expectantly. So, what do you think? They asked. I tapped my fingers on the table, considering. Ribo's user base was bleeding out, and they were clinging to co-brand deals just to survive. The partnership offered us nothing. Pocky subtly signaled to me, forget it. Ribo probably wouldn't last much longer anyway. Ashley and Jason waited nervously for our answer. We can cooperate, I said, but on one condition. What condition? Ashley asked. I decided to let Jason decide his own fate. I walked over and patted his belly. Jason and I go way back, I said. I always tell him to work out otherwise. With age, he's looking at fatty liver and high blood pressure. I'm a sentimental guy. So how about this? If Jason here can do 500 push-ups right now, we'll sign the deal. Then I squatted down in front of the table, ready to count. Any partner with an ounce of pride would have walked out, but Ribo was desperate. Ever the smooth talker, Jason wasn't about to let the chance slip, though he didn't want to humiliate himself either. Beaming, he stood up. That's right. Luke used to drag me to the gym every day. Since he left, I've kept up time to show him the results. He rolled up his sleeves and lowered himself carefully, trying not to wrinkle his tailored pants. Ready, President Jason? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. I counted earnestly. Every rep, his belly hit the floor first. Jason was truly determined to seal the deal. His arms trembled, sweat poured down, but he gritted his teeth and kept going. 20! Come on, you're almost there! It had been years since he'd exercised this hard. He pushed through 30 before collapsing, spent his soaked white shirt clinging to his chest. He didn't even bother saving face, just sat on the floor panting and wiping sweat. Pocky and Ashley chuckled. Ha ha ha! President Jason really needs more training. When we left, no one mentioned the partnership again. So, what do you think about partnering with Rybo? I asked Pocky on the drive back. He kept his eyes on the road. Forget it. Not worth it. Waste of time. I didn't reply, staring out the window instead. Neon-lit towers flashed by in streaks of color. When Rybo started, it had just one small office. To save on utilities, everyone worked from home late into the night. It had clawed its way into this glittering jungle, only to fade into its shadows again. In an age racing forward, who would even remember it? You still can't let it go, huh? Pocky caught my gaze in the rearview mirror. Let what go? I asked. He grinned. When you said you were sentimental, you weren't kidding. I thought for a moment, then said, I want to acquire Rybo. Right now, they've bloated the system just to stay alive. With proper funding, I can bring it back. Deal, Pocky said without hesitation. Aren't you afraid of burning money? What big company doesn't have a few money-burning departments? Besides, when the founder gives the word, what's there to be afraid of? The next day, our executive team visited Rybo to discuss the acquisition. We ended up buying the company at 30% above its market value. The board wasn't optimistic, but for Rybo's employees, it was a blessing everyone kept their jobs, with better pay and benefits. I was full of drive again, gathering user feedback and redesigning Rybo from the ground up. The news of Rybo changing hands sent shockwaves through the industry. Financial bloggers analyzed the deal's motives, and with the old press conference scandal still floating around, many speculated it was a sentimental buyout by Rybo's former chief engineer. The rumors swirled, but I shut out the noise and focused on our first plan. The first relaunch was set for next month, with the board unanimously voting for me to host the live stream. Don't worry, Pocky said. We'll have the script ready, you just read it. I worried my stiff expression would kill the mood and tried to pass the job to someone more charismatic. No one's better for it than you, Pocky said. And you don't want to end up like Jason, do you? I had no choice. Even on the day of the conference, I was still nervously rehearsing. Dressed in a tailored suit, hair perfectly styled, I was ready to face the stage. Backstage, Pocky whistled when he saw me. Clothes really do make the man. You're usually such a mess, but damn, you clean up nice. Who was he calling a mess? Still, his words boosted my confidence. I strode toward the door. Hey! Watch out, Luke! Splash. Scalding liquid splattered down. I instinctively stepped back. Jason stood in front of me, holding a cup of coffee, face full of panic. I just wanted to bring you some coffee for energy. I'm so sorry. The coffee soaked my printed speech. My glare could have burned holes through him. Not a drop on either of our clothes, just the script. Completely ruined. He was either unbelievably clumsy or doing it on purpose. The press conference was starting in 10 minutes. I hurriedly texted Pocky, asking him to send me the digital version. Message delivered, unread. I called no answer. He'd probably silenced his phone again. My fault for being careless. I'd practically worn the paper copy to shreds rehearsing, but never thought to ask for a backup. Time was up. The assistant called me on stage. I took a deep breath. The speech might be gone, but I couldn't be late. After so much practice, muscle memory would carry me. The lights hit my face as I stepped on stage, dazzling and disorienting. I glanced up to the VIP balcony. Pocky was there, popping a bottle of champagne and waving. Not yet, damn it, I haven't even started. The live stream chat was dead silent. Everyone waited for me to speak. What was the first line again? Honored leaders or distinguished guests? I wanted to sink through the floor and flow right out the door, but the arrow was knocked. I had to shoot. I leaned toward the mic. Ahem, testing, can you hear me? Lately, there have been rumors that I'm actually Rybo's chief engineer. I'd like to clarify. The rumors are true. Gasps rippled through the crowd. All right then, since you all know who I am, let's cut the nonsense and bam! Let's check out the new features. Here's the old version, absolute garbage, so we scrapped it. And this is the new one. Amazing. Just look at this. Oh my god. Is there really anyone who wouldn't love this? I'm obsessed. I got so hyped that I tripped over my own feet and face planted on stage. The audience erupted in laughter. I ignored them, got up, dusted myself off, and kept talking. On the balcony, Pocky's champagne glass hit the floor and shattered. My assistant looked like she'd seen a ghost. But I was completely in the zone, getting more and more animated. What I didn't realize was that as soon as I started going off script, the live stream numbers exploded. Are all execs this down to earth? I'm in love. His eyes literally light up when he talks about Rybo. Silent, he's a genius. Talking, he's unhinged, and I love it. When the event ended, I was still sitting on the stage steps, telling the front row audience the bittersweet story of Rybo's rise. It took several security guards to drag me away. Exhausted, I slept like a log until the next day. When I came into the office, Pocky was giggling at his laptop. On screen, my chaotic press conference remix was playing. My temper flared. Who posted that? Was it Jason? I was ready to storm out. Not him, Pocky said, grabbing my arm. It was me. Sorry, I should have asked first, but come on, it's too good. He said sorry, but he was laughing so hard, tears streamed down his face. Times have changed. Man, people love this stuff. I uploaded it last night, and it's already on the homepage today. I glared at him in silence, seething, as the video topped the trending charts. Before long, the comments section was filled with my reaction memes. Pocky rubbed his hands together. Who knew you had such a gift for comedy, Luke? You're wasted as a corporate manager, he said. He never missed a chance to go viral. Let's launch a Rybo-exclusive AI Luke edition. We'll model it after you. Your face, your voice, your speech patterns perfectly replicated. Luke, I'll need you for motion capture. He posted the idea on his personal account, and it went viral instantly. By afternoon, my assistant team had me in a studio, turning me into an AI. I barely had time to breathe. After the special Sailfish Edition model, we added an anniversary skin for the press conference. Fans flooded in, telling me a true architect dreams of becoming a KOL someday. Yes, I had a fan club now. I only learned that after becoming the prototype for the Rybo exclusive AI. The fan club was officially managed by our PR team to prevent negative influence or chaotic rumors. The most powerful among them was the Luke Girlfriend Fans group. Somehow, I didn't even have a real girlfriend, but I already had thousands of girlfriend fans. Their leader, a big influencer under the ID Shanghai Queen Lily, was now a manager in our operations department. She used to be a shy rookie. Now she ran things with ruthless efficiency. As for Jason, he'd been demoted to entry-level staff, earning half his old salary and doing twice the work. Maybe now he finally understood what it meant to be an ordinary employee. Pocky was still traveling everywhere, pitching and investing. For him, making money wasn't the goal. Discovering and nurturing talent was his real joy. After 2 years, Rybo had finally stopped being the company's money-losing division. I went on stage for every annual launch event, and the remix video never failed to stay entertaining. One day, Pocky burst into the room, eyes gleaming. The Korean side invited our girl group AI to perform. Let's take this chance to launch a special Luke Girl Group Edition skin promo. I struck a dramatic pose, pretending to panic. Don't you dare come any closer!